Imagine a nation where the top 10% hold nearly 70% of the wealth, while the bottom 50% share just 13%. Owners and CEOs keep increasing their salaries as the majority of their employees deal with pay cuts. Adding to this, with growing digitization and automation in various sectors, lakhs of employees have lost their jobs to AI. They say that people with AI skills will still have jobs, but honestly, how many people can afford to spend time and money having lost their major income? If this wealth gap continues to grow, we're not just staring at an economic inequality, we're staring at an oligarchic divide. With people's ambitions disappearing due to inflation, billions of dreams start dying too. This is where the current form of capitalism is taking us, with crores of people about to go into poverty. Capitalism in its essence is not evil, but the type we follow today and who it serves often decides who it fails. To understand this, we have to know what brought this system over here. During the colonial rule, the British introduced it into India, not to uplift people, but to extract resources. What resources? India had its vast wealth in natural resources. Having an independent economy in artisanal craftsmanship, agriculture, and trade, India was one of the richest economies in the world. Through its thriving markets in textiles, spices, metals, and booming internal markets as well, the British East India Company systematically disconnected local industries to control of redirecting resources back to Britain for the benefit of British investors, and restructured Indian society to serve the interests of British capitalists. This shift not only removed India's wealth and local distributors within the country, but also was the foundation for exploitative capitalism, where we ended up paying almost double for our own goods. Post-independence, India was robbed of all its resources, so it initially attempted socialism to fix this divide and imbalance. But bureaucracy and corruption slowed progress over a period of time. Then, in 1991, economic liberalization changed the game. It opened doors for private businesses, foreign investment, and tremendous funding. This all sounds really good, right? But it came at a deadly cost, because this model didn't come with a manual for human dignity and preventing a repeat of history. But today, capitalism glorifies profits and certainly advertises growth, but it leaves millions of people to figure out survival all by themselves. Plus, add to that, capitalism now has taken a dangerous turn, where big fish no longer swim with the small ones, they simply eat them. And many small industries end up closing due to various policy changes, huge taxes being imposed, and complex rules being applied. Large corporations armed with massive funding and deep connections are quietly swallowing or outcompeting smaller businesses, startups, and even age-old family-run enterprises, reducing competition in the end. From retail chains to food delivery, healthcare, media, and even agriculture, monopolistic giants have consumed it all, wiping out the diversity in the marketplace. This isn't just a business strategy anymore. It's more like economic supremacy. With fewer players in the market, prices are manipulated, studying consumer buying patterns. With this, choices begin to shrink and innovation eventually dies. You know what's worse? The local chai shop, the neighborhood chemist, the indie clothing brand shop, they don't stand a chance. Capitalism, once sold to us as the road to opportunity, is now the highway for a few to dominate while millions are left stranded. A society without competition isn't just unfair, it's bad for growth and goes against the idea of democracy. India, once full of small businesses and self-run economies, now risks becoming a one-brand country where only the richest 1% benefit. You may have already seen this happening in most sectors, but you know what's unclear is where we're all headed. Year on year, prices of onions, mango, milk, petrol, or school fees rise faster than salaries. Add to that 1.4 billion people and counting, competing for the same resources and jobs. But the reality of today is that only about 10.75% of India's labor force earn more than 5 lakh rupees annually. So what's the result? Millions are suffering in silent desperation. Think Think about it. If a man or woman earns 1 lakh rupees per month living in the city, approximately rent is 25,000, transport by cab is 22,000 rupees, food is 10,000, electricity is 3,000 and gas is 850 rupees. In case there's an emergency or accident, can they just pay 30 or 40,000 to take care of medical charges? And what about tax? So what the hell is left for them to live on today? Overpopulation makes labor cheap, inflation makes survival costly, and exploitation becomes part of the job. People are just candidates that can be rejected by swiping left, while thousands more apply. Capitalism without checks and strong laws certainly creates an imbalance of accountability, and maybe that's what is being exploited today. Capitalism in India today wears a suit, has a startup pitch, and thrives on social media.
Do you want to upskill yourself and skyrocket your career? Then join this masterclass.
But underneath, it's divided into two nations. One with IPOs, tech parks, co-working spaces, and filled with funds from investors. The other with no healthcare, no savings, no job security, and no upward mobility. We've built billion-dollar unicorns, and yes, this may sound too idealistic, but is this system destroying a billion dreams at the same time? This is quickly turning into a system where making money controls almost everything. How people live, what they buy, how they think, and even what they believe in. The middle class is now chasing fast success, often through loans, credit cards, and even social media trends. Big companies now control many major industries, and policies often seem to favor them over small or local businesses. At the same time, digital platforms collect people's personal data and use it to influence what they buy or how they behave. Even deeply personal aspects of life, like spirituality, love, and patriotism, are being turned into products and marketed for profit. If this pattern continues, many people will suffer from depression and result in an indifferent society where people don't care how you are as long as you earn. Young people may face more stress, anxiety, and job insecurity, resulting in gig work as AI takes over full-time jobs tomorrow. Farmers and poor families could fall into even more debt as a result of growing retailers in the country. With 1% of the population holding almost 23% of the country's income and owning 40% of the country's wealth, at the same time having youth unemployment continuing to rise rapidly, India will look rich on paper, but in reality, many will struggle with mental health, and suffering from inequality will disturb everyone except the super rich. Cash used to give people freedom. No apps, no banks, just money in your hand. But today, in India's capitalist system, cash is seen as old and suspicious. Plus, events like demonetization also reduce trust in hard cash. But due to rising prices and overpopulation, it means you need more money to buy the same things. At the same time, digital payments like UPI have become very popular, so people use these methods and less cash. Because of this, the Indian rupee has also weakened compared to the US dollar, making imports more expensive. But big scams are happening even through banks as well, not only cash. Remember this story? It was a 13,850 crore scam involving fraudulent guarantees, bribery, and international money laundering. So having our money in the bank is certainly more secure and helps protect and document our fund transfers. But this case is one of many more that shows us that it has also made large transfers much easier for fraudsters to interact with. But the real question is, did cash lose value because it's bad, or because rich people and big banks can't control it or profit from it? Comment below and let me know what you think. We were told digital payments are for convenience, but what if the real reason was to hide how fast money is losing value? As prices rise, 100 rupees doesn't buy much today, but swiping a card or scanning a code doesn't feel the same as handing over cash. You don't feel the loss, and because people fear being seen as hiding black money, they go along with it. Capitalism uses this. If people don't feel the pinch, they just keep spending. Here's a quick question. Just check your previous month's spending on buying products or food delivery alone and add it all up. Can you understand why you need to pay that much money today? And just try to remember about 5 or 6 years ago, approximately how much you used to spend on the same things. Doesn't it feel like something has lost value? But despite digital monitoring, bank scams still occur in India and abroad because most frauds exploit human psychology like fear, trust, and urgency, rather than just technical flaws. When large-scale scams happen, they hurt the economy through bank losses, bailouts, or tighter credit, sometimes leading governments to inject more money into the system, causing inflation. So while digital systems offer transparency, they're not foolproof. They need constant upgrades and stronger cybersecurity to truly be effective. So going digital isn't just about technology, it's also about psychology. It hides the pain of rising costs while the system keeps benefiting. Ask yourself, was the digital push about making life easy for us or making it easier for the system to hide how much we are losing with every transaction? Modern capitalism in India has led to significant psychological effects on individuals. The constant pressure to be productive and improve oneself can result in anxiety, depression, and making people develop the feeling of never good enough, leading to stress and strained relationships. A notable issue is the widening pay gap, particularly between genders. Despite efforts to address this, women in India continue to earn significantly less than men, with the wage gap increasing over recent years. This disparity not only affects financial stability but also contributes to feelings of undervaluation and frustration among hardworking individuals. In the current economic climate, there is a tendency to prioritize image over actual value. Individuals who are more visible or great at self-promotion often receive recognition, while those who work diligently behind the scenes may be overlooked. When appearances become more valuable than actual contribution, people start feeling they're not enough unless they're always visible. It creates a fake reality where everyone is comparing lifestyles, not lives. Those who can't keep up due to financial limits, personal struggles, or simply having a different value system feel left out, invisible, or like utter failures. Over time, this can lead to burnout, anxiety, and even depression as people begin tying their self-worth to likes, titles, and trends instead of who they truly are. This system trains you into believing that your worth depends on how much you achieve, what position you hold today, where you work, and how often you post your lavish life on socials. You start chasing this illusion, believing that buying things and posting them to feel successful or outmatching the lifestyle of other successful people makes you a unique success story. But this is actually slowly destroying you. You believe rest is wrong and stress is normal. Over time, you become a machine, always working on commands, never satisfied. And the scariest part about this is that you think that this is how life is supposed to be for a success story. There's no other way. But toxic capitalism isn't just about money. It's about how it makes us think and feel about ourselves. I'm sure all of us have realized that we live in a world of haves and have-nots. Let me ask you, what were the British imperialists trying to do to us? Weren't they the ones that amplified and normalized the idea that some people deserve more while others must suffer and struggle? Only thing is, we do it to each other today. But why? Isn't 77 years of independence enough for us to realize the same mistake again? In a country like India, where life was once slower, simpler, and more community-based, this mindset is making people feel alone and depressed. And the scariest part, we think that this is normal. But deep down, most of us are just tired. We're not lazy or broken. We're just stuck in a system that profits from our stress. At the end, capitalism is a tool. It can build empires or it can build communities. But only if we remember, money is a means and not the measure of a human being. The mindset of capitalism in India must evolve from one master controls all to many businesses flourishing because of each other, from profits to people, and from competition to compassion. let's always remember the rich beggar will always look at capitalism as a way to become even more richer than a billionaire, no matter how many beggars are created in the process. Whereas a rich person finds ways to enrich the livelihood of countless others and make a nation rich to live in, filled with resources for everyone. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this can help you and others understand where we're all going with capitalism a little bit better. Let's not just grow the economy, let's grow up together before we grow old.
The mirror shows us what the eye can see, but true reflection shows us what the mind often hides. So subscribe, it's free, and turn on notifications if you're ready to see what truly lies in reality.